Is the reluctant Nabi back again. Okay, so we're gonna get into this real quick, but let me greet everybody real quick. Hoorder hardu gudag ola oite bang vasas los bonjour mes amis. Quero bawani konnichiwa. Niha ni ama sani modani jamba harbarigane. Assalamu alaikum shalom. Kumusta ka, kumusta po kayo, and talafalapa soifu. All right. So here we're going to discuss where we're at and pay attention and subscribe to this channel, Reluctant Nabi Bless and Reluctant Nabi Neo, because I'm going to start a new series called Where We At, meaning where we're at globally and where we are spiritually and emotionally, and a community within the diaspora. All right. Now, I want y'all to get a gander at this and pay attention to this to show you how we got to where we are now. All right. And this is from the Moyneihan Report, one of his interviews.
As I imagine.
Welfare?
Yeah, welfare and stuff. And
that happened a lot? The mother gets public assistance and helps the guy on the side?
I don't know if you would say they help them, but, you know, it's a lot of guys that I know that just goes around looking for welfare mothers. And they may have 6 of them like that and get a little piece of money out of each of them. That's their job. You know, that's their hustle.
What do you think about welfare?
Welfare, to me, some people need it. You know, I'll be for real. Some people really actually need it. And then others take advantage of it.
Now, keep in mind, this is dude working to keep people off the streets, all right? And they were talking about specific individuals that all the welfare mothers like. You know, the dude that was light-skinned with the curly hair, you know, because, hey, black is back now, but it wasn't allowed to be around at the time in that town, all right?
Sandra Alice told me yesterday that she thinks welfare has made her lazy.
Yeah, because it's there. You know that your food is going to be there every month, because with the welfare finance come food stamps. Then you get Medicaid to cover your medical expenses. Welfare is doing everything. You're married to welfare, a lot of the women's.
Understand this. This is things, now this is back in 1985, 86, this interview. This is something that Afro men understood, which is why good men started to leave the independent, I don't need no man, welfare mom alone. And it is these women that chose the bottom rung, the children that they produced, who had the males they produced, who had no future or nothing because they didn't give them one, who then goes around and just make more babies from these welfare moms. And remember, these guys were in the minority, but we were taught that no, all these dudes were like this. No, all of us was never like that. They only choose a few of us and then lied to us. Yes, the black woman lied to us and told us and taught us that, yeah, all men just run around like that. And now we're finding out different. These lies told about the Afro men go back a long way.
They're more married to welfare than the guy is laying in the bed next to him, because he's just a physical thing. The whole backbone of the family is coming out of downtown or out of uptown offices.
Government offices?
Yeah.
Does this cycle of dependency, I mean, what does it do to the values of these kids?
Oh, they see it as a game. You know, somebody owes me something. Somebody's going to take care of me. It's not the self-esteem.
What do you think's ahead for kids like Timothy?
Maybe he'll get shot or he'll pick up a gun to protect himself and he'll get shot by a police officer pulling it, or he'll get arrested.
Some of these kids are just losers, aren't they? Sad as it
I
is
mean,
to-
yeah, you're born into a dead end, you know, and you're in that rut. If you're born into that type of situation, how do you escape? That's the biggest question that I would like to answer. So I can start getting these kids to know.
Why do they have kids?
Now, notice that he said, when you're born to a single mom, as a man, you are born into the dead end. All right. Now, I'm sure he didn't like. We're realizing hindsight 20/20, but what he realized is that you're at a dead end because the government is against you and your own mom is against you. Remember, she makes money by keeping men out of the house from the government. But that money comes with a sense of power over the home and the man.
Early. Why do these children have children? This is a dead end. That's a perfect description for it.
Well, when I was growing up, sex was almost a dirty word. Now sex is what's happening. You know, they see sex in TV, sex in movies, sex everywhere. You know, and some girls think it's cute walking down the street pregnant.
Don't you ever get discouraged?
I get discouraged. I lock people up. I get in fights.
Don't you ever want to walk away from it?
Yes, but I feel like so many people has done that. To me, I hate to lose. I hate to lose, and I never would have started working with kids if I didn't, you know, for me to walk away from it and feel like I lost.
All right. This gets deeper than this. I want you to pay attention to this now.
Of the family means to children.
We see depression. We see terrible anger. We see a lack of expectancy.
What are they angry about?
Children are born without any understanding as to how to manage their feelings, and it's through the training and teaching that these foundations are set. Children who are the children of children are not being trained to understand how to manage their feelings. So they want when they want what they want when they want it. And when they don't get it, they get angry.
Now, let me say this. Y'all remember in my videos that I put up like a couple of years ago about the black women, the black women saying, I don't need no dad. When he asked them to raise their hands and say, who wants to be married to their father? And only one raised their hand. All right. So what you had is a cycle of children raising children, because if young mama is in the house and her daughter gets pregnant in that house, and the daughter is living in the house underage, oh, that's the perfect scenario for the government. It's the perfect scenario with the mom. She kicks the son out into the streets when he's 18, so he has no skills, no nothing, because he was raised by the single mom that saw no value in him, because all the value for human life comes from what the government could give that black mom. All right, and so now the daughter is pregnant from one of the hoods in the street, so the mom is looking cha-ching, cha-ching. I'm about to get not only the food stamps from the children I've been able to keep producing, but now my daughter and now grandchildren are going to bring in income from the government, and I don't have to listen to no man. But then they wonder why the sons can't stand them as the sons grow up.
I talked to a young man yesterday, 30 now. Well, he described what happened to him when he was 15, how he took a baseball bat to somebody who'd messed with his girlfriend, how he actually shot somebody who had spit on him. What causes that hair trigger emotion?
If you have no respect for life, you then will try to destroy or dismantle another person. It won't matter to you. Such a person doesn't have a conscience. And I think that, again, we don't have the foundations. The foundations weren't set.
We've talked to one 27-year-old father. He has 7 kids he's not caring for. 7 kids by several different women. Why? Why does that happen?
If you're a rolling stone, and if the father before you was a rolling stone, or there are no values to constrain you from this behavior, then you have, you do this and you do it with impunity.
It becomes a badge of honor?
Right, and it's the only badge of honor that you expect to get.
Do they feel any sense of guilt over their...
Notice he says it's the only badge of honor that the Afro man could expect to get. If you look at it now, women have a lot of respect and desire for the man that could screw a bunch of other women. They want the man that is screwing a bunch of other women. All right. They do not honor in this day the black woman, and you can see it in the numbers. You can see it who they choose. They do not, and since then, they do not honor now, nor have they honored in the past the Afro man that actually worked.
Impotence as fathers?
No. Not the kind of guilt that would be appropriate to changing the behavior.
Are we breeding a new outlaw society?
We're breeding a society more that will destroy itself.
So people say, well, that doesn't bother me. I mean, as long as they stay in Newark and shoot each other and mug each other and screw each other, so what do I care?
But what goes around comes around. It may appear that these individuals are on reservations, they're isolated, but you cannot really divorce yourself from what happens to other people in this country. And if you design a society, a sub-society where people will annihilate themselves, it won't be long before this becomes a disease that infects the entire population.
You don't think we can run to the suburbs anymore?
No, I think you can run, but you can't hide.
You can run, but you can't hide. All right, understand what he's saying. They meant this for our destruction, and it's turning around to destroy them, biting them in the behind. The them, I mean, is the so-called, Caucasian persuasion. All right, so now she hits the nail on the head, but remember, this is 1986. Now look at where we are now. Look at where we at now. And look at the seeds of this.
Carolyn Wallace is a surrogate mother. She's seen too many children grow up and stumble not to be angry.
If the parent is 17 and 18, uneducated, unmotivated, fooling around, wandering around, what's the child going to learn? Who's to teach him? When you learn something, you was taught by your parents. It was reinforced by school and your neighbors, but it was taught by your parents. Your parents said, Bill, you better not do that. Don't put that plug over there. You're going to get hurt or whipping, right? Your parents did it. Well, if the parents don't know anything, how are they going to teach the children? Now,
if the parents don't know anything, how are they going to teach the children? In other words, this was a lot of, but here's the thing, and this is the thing that makes me really sick with Afro people. In this current environment, because everybody is led by the black woman and her desires, she don't want the older man to be with the younger woman who can take care of the younger woman. But it's okay if she, as a teacher, could go in and get it on with the students that she's teaching. Or it's okay for 2 young 16-year-old teenagers to have a bunch of children at 16, 17, and 18 before they even become adults. And the women are okay with that. Oh, why? Because, well, those girls are still living in the house and them babies bringing money to the mom. And even though the mom don't take any responsibility of really taking care of the house, all right, she teaches the daughter to exploit the man, to exploit the system. No accountability, but no morality, no spirituality, no sense of right and wrong, no sense of justice. All right. Each time this happens, everybody tries to blame the minority of men, but at no time do they hold accountable the majority of women that's causing this. It's the women that's the cause of this. They are the gatekeepers. They choose.
A generation of that kind of thing happening, and the kids are coming up under that. Then we got another generation of lost young people.
Why are there so many single-parent households?
Have you been walking the streets in Newark lately? All our young men are out on the corner, just absolutely doing nothing. That's the problem.
Why, what's happened to those young men? What's happened to the black man?
And that's not the problem. But this is what, when they asked the women back in this day, they said the problem is the young men, right? But the young men that were out on the corner was the minority of men, but they produced the majority of children in these conditions because these were the men that the daughters were taught they're pretty boy, and you're getting welfare or anything, so you don't have any risk if you have a baby from one of these men that have no jobs. All right, and then the women, the single mothers, are the reason those young men are out on the corner. You know, the ones that threw away the men for these conditions.
It's like they've given up. It's like they're really not a part of what's going on.
Understand, she says they're really not a part, because they're not. They were thrown out of the house at 18 so that the mom could keep getting them food stamps. Remember, the mom threw the boys out of the house at 18, left the daughters in the house while she was 18 because she could still produce children, which brought in money or food stamps from welfare.
Why are they not? Why have they given up?
There aren't that many jobs, okay, for the laborer like there used to be. And they're just totally unmotivated. And society has made living for the women without the husband or without the male easy.
Oh?
Yeah, welfare. I think welfare is not the best thing for everybody.
Society, the government, the Democrats made living without a man easy for women while simultaneously using the women to make life living as a man nothing but despair.
Tell me why.
Because it provides you with some kind of income that you sooner or later just settle for. I know I was on welfare. I've been on welfare.
Are you suggesting that we do away with welfare?
No, I'm saying it has to be upgraded. For instance, I have some young people here that are on welfare, okay, but would like to work. But they can't work and make a coin because everything you make is taken away from your check.
Can you push the solution even further back? Is there any way to stop the cycle of teenage pregnancies?
That's so difficult to even talk about. In my heart, I think I have a solution, and I know, it may rub people the wrong way. But I believe that teenage pregnancy cannot be stopped by programs. It has to be morals, and morals come from God. And somewhere along the line, the black family kind of strayed away from that, and I believe we need it.
You say the...
Now, let me stop here. You notice that it's always the black family. No one, they called out the men. They called out the family as a whole. They called out the community. Remember, this is 1986. But at no point did they hold the black woman who's getting pregnant by these men, accountable for wanting to stay in the system. At every point in 1986, during these interviews, when he asked people, should we get rid of welfare? Each and every one of the black elder people said no. They said welfare is the problem, but we don't want to get rid of it. Why? Because welfare empowered women to destroy the men, but it also gave them political power to keep it going. It was a win-win for the establishment. They destroyed the men for subpar housing, and they settled on having really not much of anything. All right. And Clinton revamped it in '96, but it still wasn't made for us as Afro men. Everything in this country since then was designed to promote the woman so that she could destroy the community and get rid of melanin by destroying the men, even if they had to do it while the men were children. Detroit 300. All right, Detroit 300. In Detroit, when all the lights was turned out, crime was getting rampant. All right, and a lot of children were being killed in drive-bys and everything. Something needed to be done. They didn't have enough police, if they had police at all. So a brother formed this group, the Detroit 300, a group of men that policed the area. All right, and they became very successful because they knew the neighborhood and everything. A lot of the criminal elements started going to jail. And black women said, we need to stop them from protecting the neighborhood because they were losing their drug money that they were getting from their sons that they raised to be dealers. These are two of those women. They went, got a white woman lawyer, feminist, and decided to put it into the Detroit 300. These are the same type of women that put it into every program that Obama tried to come up that would serve boys. They said if it doesn't include girls, you can't have it. But you can have programs just for girls. Yeah, these are black women. Trust me, y'all, they never had our back. They were busy stabbing us in it. This is the history. This is the news cycle. So when we talk about these things and address them as they should be addressed, one must remember that anytime they'll come up with this saying, oh, protect black women, protect black women. Black women don't need our protection, nor do they really want it. All right, because if they wanted our protection, they would follow our lead, but they don't want our protection. Their thing is to keep having these children from these thugs. Why? Because everyone blames the Afro man, so no one holds them accountable. Only now, recently, are they starting to be held accountable. Remember, when there was a bunch of us brothers in 2017 holding them accountable, they band together and shut down our voices on platforms the same way they do now. All right, they war against us. The people warring against the Afro man that's trying to do good and save the community is the very own BAW, Black American Woman. These are the same ones that want you to respect and protect them. If you call them out for what they're doing to the community, they're saying you're being disrespectful. However, when they're getting with these thugs and stuff, and these thugs are having their way with them, then they want the very men they rejected. All right, the very people that they didn't want. Then they want them to protect them. But no one needs more protection from them than the children. Pay attention to that. No one needs more protection from them than the children. Never been held accountable. Never been held accountable. Reasons for abortion, 98% personal choice. All right? Their right to choose. They're fighting now. They are fighting now to kill children in the womb. It's a big fight. Whether they call it choice, my choice of life, all right, they understand that they're taking the life. They're taking another life. And it's not their body, their choice. They're destroying another entity, another body. And they understand this. They just brainwash a lot of these dusty dudes that run around trying to make us equal, which we are not. We are not, I'm not equal to LeBron James. The equivalent of what they want is me saying that no, the NBA needs to pay me, but you don't play basketball. Well, they need to put me on the team, give me a ring, and pay me equal to LeBron James. That's as good as the WNBA. If the women think they deserve his money, then I think not only do I deserve his money, but they need to put me on the court. I don't have to do as much as him, hardly anything at all. I don't even have to be good. Understand this. These women sacrifice the children, the Afro man, and community. Even if they're married, they've gone on TV and said that because of their degree, that the Afro man ain't SH. And I think 40% with degrees do not have a job. And now they're complaining because, yeah, you know what's undefeated? That's that wall. They're complaining because they're hitting that wall alone. And they lambasted the Afro man so much that the average Afro man don't want to be bothered. The simp can only be with one woman, right? And he is still in a minority. Our only solution is to get passports and leave them the hell alone, because we can't survive them. Neither can any seeds we produce with them. Until the laws change, they won't change. With that said, I'm out.